Welcome to Let's Chat with Disco George. Today, I have one of Miami's most fantastic persons. I met this gentleman through social media, and he brings a smile every day to somebody. It doesn't matter who it is. Sometimes I'm at home and he makes me smile because I see the miraculous work that he does at his med spa. And his name is Jacob Sanchez. Jacob, welcome to the show.
Wow, Disco George, it's an absolute honor to be here. I've been wanting to be here. We've been trying to make this happen for
A year.
months.
At least, no, it's been a year.
It's been a year?
It's been a year.
Jeez, time flies,
Time
man.
flies. Man,
Yeah.
we should have had an anniversary dinner. You got to take me diving one because I love your dive videos.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we were diving last week. I'm not sure you saw my daughter.
I saw it.
Yeah, I'm preparing her for the Coliseum of life.
Yeah.
It's fun when people recognize my daughter is getting more recognition. I go to the airport and people stop her. Like, oh, you're Get Refresh.
That's right. Get Refresh girl.
Yeah, she's an ambassador of the brand.
Yeah. Well, you have a very balanced life. So it's perfect. You give her a beautiful balanced life. You give your patients a beautiful balanced life.
Mm-hmm.
I see some of the fantastic work you've done.
Thank you.
Just with some of the people that have had issues with, just nose scars, different accidents.
Yeah, yeah, we're doing something a little different when it comes to the med spa space. And we're so honored and flattered to be an authority figure within this sector of the industry that's growing rapidly. So I think this is going to be very informative for anybody who's going to be watching this show today.
Well, the beauty of it is that you're in the heart of Miami, right off of Coconut Grove, right on 27th Avenue.
That's right.
And you believe it or not, I've never told you this, but that's my old neighborhood.
Is that right?
I grew up in that area. So
it's a wonderful neighborhood.
I love it. Right across the street
From Mary's?
was a little supermarket there that I used to go to all the time. And, like a bodega,
Right on.
So I when I saw your place come up, I was like, Get Refreshed. What is Get Refreshed?
It's becoming a rejuvenating watering hole. So surprisingly, most of our clients are actually not locals.
Wow.
They're flying in from all 50 states, even internationally. Now, in our 7th year, we seem to be capturing a local demographic. And I think it's because we're building out other, services like a day spa where people can come and really now rejuvenate their mind, body, and soul. It's not just about the vanity that some people believe.
All right. Let me ask you, I know you told me earlier you had some roots. When did you really become a Miamian?
At the age of 7. I was born in New York City. Around 7 years old, my father passed away tragically.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Things happen, and it made me the man that I am today because this is why I do so much cool stuff with my daughter. They're very impressionable in this early ages. I think Socrates once said, give me the child at 3, and I'll return back the man at 8. And early on in life, I saw a lot of violence. I witnessed a lot of things that a kid shouldn't, and it really shaped me in a positive way. From there, from New York City, when my father tragically passed, we flew to Dominican Republic before making a stop to Miami. I lived there for a year on a farm.
Do you have Dominican roots?
Yeah, my parents are both Dominican. We went to my father's farm at the time where his mom has lived for the last 100 years.
Wow.
And I lived rural. We had to pump our water. I went from New York City, most modern city in the country, in the world, then went to farmlands where we had no running water. There's no toys or anything like that. You're even
a cow.
You're using the bathroom outside.
Right.
There's not even toilet paper. You have to live off the earth. You're cleaning your butt with dry corn cobs. And the reason why I tell you this is because I realized at an early age I didn't need much to be happy.
Exactly.
So now my life is just full of abundance, but yet it's
you had an incredible journey. Where did you go to school?
I went to school to a variety of schools. I went to Hammocks Middle, Ammons Middle, Richmond Middle. Then I went to Sunset Senior High,
Oh, Sunset.
Miami-Dade College, which was a
Miami-Dade.
community college at
There
the
we
time.
go.
And then I transferred over to the University of Miami.
Wow,
Yeah,
UM.
I gotta put it
All
off.
about the U.
All about the U. When you do it like, I mean, how'd you do it, George?
I did.
Okay. I saw you do it like, did you do it another way?
It could go this way.
No, that's when you're measuring your penis size. That's
that's another story. But so you went to UM, and then when did Get Refreshed get inspired?
Oh, geez. So when I got out, I graduated my master's in anesthesia.
Okay.
And I knew I wanted to work in the private sector, doing, breast and mommy makeovers. So I got my year of experience at the #1 ENT hospital in the country, Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary, because I knew that I was going to need good airway experience because I'm working by myself in these centers. You don't have a lot of help or the resources that you would have at a hospital. And I quickly saw, from having 1 foot in the hospital, 1 foot out in the private sector, both of them have something common. Everything in medicine is a push to find a way to do it more non-invasively, even hearts, even cosmetic surgeries.
Exactly.
So that's where Get Refreshed was born. I was like, wait, well, people are looking for a more non-invasive way of managing their aging process. They don't want to get facelifts. So what are we doing? Where are we at this current time? And I felt at that time, 7 years ago, there was nobody at the pinnacle of this mountain. There wasn't a brand that had the trust of America. And that was what we set out to do.
Wow. So what is the mission statement for Get Refreshed?
To be the gold standard in injectables. But now we want to be the gold standard in beauty. We've done that. When it comes to injectables, we've increased the standard more than any standards placed on us by any local or government body. And I think that it's not just for us. We want people to follow suit so that we can make it safer for everyone. I'm not sure if you know about this, but Miami-Dade and Broward has the highest rate of HIV.
Oh, wow. No, didn't know that.
For like the last 4 or 5 years. I'm talking about in the country. We're talking about a city, Miami-Dade and Broward. They flip-flop every year.
Wow.
And then you have, Baton Rouge. With that said, hepatitis B can live on a surface for 2 weeks and you won't see blood. You won't see red. And this is why that our standards, we have pneumatic tubing. If you see it, pneumatic tubing sending the product in from a laboratory, a controlled setting. So we're not manipulating the products in the room where it was once contaminated with blood, even though we're sanitizing it even at a higher standard with Cavi wipes and antimicrobial solutions. So I think this push to be excellent is the same push that everyone else is seeking, but in a different form. They want to feel excellent. And I think the combination is just a happy marriage.
Well, I've seen that. I know you also have a school that you teach injectors. So you're teaching the industry on how to be the best that you could be.
Right. To be safer.
To be safer.
To not put yourself in a corner you can't get out of. And that's the beauty. That's why I left anesthesia. We can't hurt somebody. If it's filler, I can reverse it before they get up off the chair or 2 years from now. And I think that having that flexibility is why a lot more people are seeking a non-invasive procedure. If you look, according to the American Society for Plastic Surgery, non-invasive procedures have exploded by 6,000%. Surgical procedures have steadily increased by 14%. So you're seeing more people are coming in. They're like, oh, I see how I could utilize this in my daily life. So we're proud to be in this industry and to be in the forefront of it and just pushing the boundaries.
I wanted to talk about the stigma of med spas because, unfortunately, in Miami, you see some, let's say, not so professional locations. I want you to talk about that because I personally have seen people walking with IV bags in the middle of shopping centers. I'm like, how could anybody be doing this? So talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, like they say in the industry.
That's a pretty broad question in terms of.
Let's start with the bad. And compared to what you have, which is a safe clean. Why shouldn't people be going to a place that's looks dangerous just by looking at it from the
Yeah.
outside?
You know why? Because 80% of med spas go out of business in year 5.
Really?
That's a huge, staggering number. So when you think about that number, it's hard. It's hard. You know, these small businesses are very fragile, and you get to a certain point, or I can see how someone would get to a certain point where it's like, we got to push these syringes. If not, we're not going to have a job. We're not going to be staying open long. And I think that is, unfortunately, the driving factor for a lot of these spas. Is like, yeah, I know you shouldn't get lip filler, but if I don't sell you this lip filler, I may not be around long. And I think that's the wrong business model, because I believe that when I came out, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if they like me. I may be their cup of tea. I may be the flavor of the month just for this month. But if I fail, I fail on my game plan. So I think that with that thought process, we've been able to just be genuine with people and not chase every dollar.
Right.
People
exactly.
chase the dollar.
Oh yeah, it's especially down here in Miami. It's who you are, who you want to be, this and that.
Right.
But it's crazy. I wanted to touch upon something that I remember very well, and you usually say it on every live that you do when you're on Instagram with your crew, which I love your crew, Summer, JoJo, the your hardcore GR group.
Yes, those are the pillars.
Yep. And I always hear that it's always reversible. Can you elaborate on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as an anesthesia provider, we were always taught never to put ourselves in a corner we can't get out of. And this is one of the beautiful reasons about using these products, is that most of them are dissolvable. And so we're injecting, for the most part, hyaluronic acid, something that you naturally produce in all the tissues of your gums, your joints. But the exogenous hyaluronic acid, the lip fillers, they're comprised and put into this like gel-like matrix. And the different gels, they have different sciences behind them as to how fast they get broken down by hyaluronidase, which you have also floating in your body. You have 3 forms of it endogenously, and they break down hyaluronic acid to keep everything in checks and balances. We have the exogenous form, the medication of hyaluronidase. So we can dissolve this before they get up off the chair if they don't like it, or a year from now when they decide, hey, you know what, I don't want this anymore, or I'm going to get a rhinoplasty. I'm going to get a surgical rhinoplasty, a surgical nose job. I don't want the liquid one anymore. I'm not biased. I came from the surgical world. So I think that there's adaptability, and it depends on what the puzzle pieces are as to why they would choose a liquid rhinoplasty. But having that flexibility is good. It's good for them, and it's good for me.
Exactly. If you're not happy,
just dissolve it. Within a couple hours.
It's funny. I had never heard anybody else ever say that. And I was like, this gentleman, before I even met you, because I practically met you looking at your, I was like, oh my, this guy knows what he's doing, because you have plan B and C, you know?
Yeah.
So you're such a fantastic. I love looking at your work, especially when you do it live. Which is,
thank you. It's kind of ballsy.
Yeah. If you guys aren't, you have to follow him. Get Refreshed on Instagram. He does some procedures live, and you're right there. It's fantastic. You have to see it.
Oh, thank you, George.
So let's talk a little bit about the procedures, which is, what everybody wants to know about. Let's start with the lips. We have a graphic on. I wanted you to touch upon the before and after, what you did in this piece.
Okay. So this woman wanted to subtly improve her lips. Now, she had beautiful lips before. She doesn't even need it. This is more of a want. And before we actually inject the lips, the most important part is doing the consultation. What are you trying to achieve? What are your expectations? And she's actually in her 60s. So some 60-year-olds, you may not want to inject and give them such a juicy pout, but she looks really well put together where she can pull it off. So you got to see if they could pull it off. And that's immediately after injection. So if you look at that white line, that M on the top of it, there's another white line. You see that shadow?
Yes.
That is the vermilion border. Specifically, that's the Cupid's bow. That's swollen right now. Those lips are going to go down about 30% in the next 4 to 5 days. It'll go down by 15% to give her a nice look. See that? So I love the way those came out, but I think this is an example of, uh, not everyone can wear those lips.
Exactly.
You have to know who you're working with, and the consultation is more important than the outcome, than the outcome that you see there.
Let me ask you. I've seen some gentlemen or ladies also, obviously, that they have a smaller upper lip.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that you balance it so they both, because I'm sure you do on top, but you also have to adjust on the bottom. Can you talk a little bit about that?
All right. I love that. What you're seeing, you're talking about the top lip being smaller than the bottom
a little,
lip.
like what they call thin lip.
Okay, but physiologically, normally that's how lips are.
Okay.
The top lip is usually smaller than the bottom lip. I'm gonna run you down this rabbit hole real quick.
Okay.
Right? This is a game of proportions. This is not so much art. A lot of people think that this is art. Yes, about 33% of it's art. 33% is math. 33% science. Know your tools. That's the science part. Anatomy. 33% math. We're looking at the golden ratio. It's this conceptual model of what the ideal shape of perfection when it comes to the face is. This geometric map. The top lip should be 1/3, bottom lip 2/3. All right. So the top, also above your lip.
So they're not supposed to be like you see the bubble lips.
Not so much. Now that's just a conceptual model, which is usually depicted as the Eastern European Caucasian woman.
Okay.
Right. But everyone can't fit in that box. Different ethnicities. Now you have to put ethnicity into the box. They are Asian, African American. Their lips are more 50-50, 50% on the top, 50% on the bottom. But that's also the new fad, right?
Exactly.
So these are all little keys. This is all about proportions. From your nose to your lip should be 1/3. From the bottom lip down to the chin should be 2/3. This should be 1/3 of the forehead. Your eyebrows should line up with the top of your ears. The columella, this lines up with your earlobes. Your inside of your eyes, if I drew a line down, that's where your nostrils would end, ideally on the perfect face. And if that line kept going down, that's where a woman's chin should end. If it was a male's chin, it would line up with the lateral commissure of the mouth. So this is all, it's typically math. I already know what I want to do when I come into the room.
Is that why you draw the little white line?
Yep.
You're doing geometry, aren't you?
It's all geometry. It's basically all, because with taking into consideration their gender and ethnicity, and what their expectations are and what they're starting off with. That's how you come up with these the best outcome.
Yeah, I learned something new today.
Cool. Yeah.
There we go.
There was a because we have a hard time articulating as to what makes somebody attractive. They did a study on speed dating at the University of Pennsylvania at UPenn. They wanted to see how long does it take for someone to determine whether or not somebody's attractive. You want to guess what number that was? How much time?
3 seconds.
You hit it right on the head. Right? 3 seconds it takes you to determine whether or not someone's attractive.
I was thinking 3 seconds.
Yeah, you were looking at me like, okay. Yeah. He's a 5.
There we go. 7. We'll go 7.
Thank you. It's because of the suit. Thank you.
Hey, let's go to the next one. I wanted to talk about you do the nose jobs without surgery. Mm-hmm. That is, tell us a little bit about that.
That's a game changer.
That's a fantastic procedure that you do all the time.
Oh yeah, and that only requires about 30% of a syringe of 1 ml.
Wow.
That's crazy. And you can make a huge impact. Our nose continues to grow for the rest of our life. The tip of the nose, earlobes, and the space from the septum of the nose down to the cupid's bow will continuously grow. So by strategically placing filler, we actually put filler behind her nose.
Oh, wow.
Most of it is behind her nose, which props it up like a door wedge. So by doing that, we can actually make the nose look smaller by reconfiguring the shape of it so it looks more aesthetically pleasing. And we can make it look more feminine.
I have a question for you. When you do your nose procedures live, you usually pull out the machine that is like a little scan machine. Can you elaborate on that? Because I had never seen that until I saw your show.
Oh, that's awesome that you're watching that. So what you're seeing is us being cutting edge. You're seeing the standard increase. We're using ultrasound technology so we can map out the structures underneath the skin so we ensure the safety of all of our clients. A lot of injectors don't like to do noses. And the reason being is there's expensive real estate underneath the nose. You can make somebody go blind if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, wow.
You can cause necrosis. You can cause, but the chances of that happening are really low. The chances of that happening is 0.00001%. Now, the chance of you not waking up from that surgery, if you did this surgically, the nose, the chance of you not waking up, we're talking about a healthy client, is 0.01. So they're still safe, right? Both of them have a good safety profile. But nevertheless, people hear unilateral blindness. It's a scary thought. So by using ultrasound, we can map out where the vessels are, and we can be very strategic and methodical about going in there.
Keeping your patient safe, which is
keeping the patient, which is the most important thing.
The most important thing.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next procedure that we have, which is the threads.
Okay, right on.
So I know you originally were doing the beginning of the year just temporary threads, but now you have permanent threads, which is a huge leap. Let's talk about threads in general, if you want to give us a little tutorial on that.
Cool. Yeah. So PDO threads, PDO stands for polydioxanol. It's a big sugar molecule that they press into a machine to make this thread, and it has these feathers on each side that catch the fat pads when you place the PDO thread in. Threads lift up natural fat pads. They don't lift skin.
Okay.
The skin is attached to the fat pad. So if we lift up the natural fat pad, because that's what happens when we're aging, they go south. Now we don't have to inject as much filler. It looks more natural. We're using your fat pad. And it's a sugar molecule. It dissolves over time, and it stimulates collagen production, increased blood flow, hyaluronic acid filler. Hyaluronic acid fillers don't stimulate hyaluronic acid. So PDO threads definitely have a place. But people would complain that they're short-lived.
Right.
Last 4 months, 8 months, depending on how many you place. So people were looking for a more permanent solution. So we now got into permanent threads. And the permanent thread is just a nylon monocryl thread that they've been using in the OR since the 40s.
Wow.
We just manipulate it in a way
I thought it was something completely new.
No, it's not. It's the same thread since they've been.
What were they using it before originally?
Oh, they sew people up.
Wow.
They anastomose guts or anything, surgically related. Now we're using it for aesthetic purposes. Now we can lift up the bottom of the neck.
So
and we can
I see. So does that go in through here, or do you start at the back? How is it?
It starts from the right underneath the middle and through various points going all the way behind the ear. There's something called the mastoid fascia, very thick.
Okay.
And it's a good anchoring point, and we can anchor the thread there and then pick everything up. Because underneath the neck is really difficult to treat because it's such a gravity-dependent area. So permanent threads have really helped us help people.
Exactly.
By using another, using a multimodal approach, we can really prevent them from having to go under the knife.
And the best part is that you don't have to go under, completely.
No, they're awake. They're participating with us. They're collaborating with us, which is what you want.
Right. And I see you give them a little tube to relax. What is that? Laughing gas?
That's laughing gas. That's nitrous oxide. That was the birth of anesthesia, was through that gas. And that was like over 200 years ago. They found out that laughing gas helps numb pain. So we found a way to flavorize it. And now patients are there with their hookah/laughing gas. And now these procedures don't have to be painful. They say, pain is beauty. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way.
Exactly.
We know there's 3 reasons why people don't get this stuff done. 1 is a pain, 2 is bruising, and the 3rd one is the cost. So we've kind of geared our business model around those 3 obstacles that people face. So we now, with having an anesthesia background, we can render them insensible to pain.
Well, and you know that you also had talked about the recovery, and you recently got a hyperbaric chamber.
Yep.
So are you using that also for the threads?
Yes, we do. Because So a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, what it does is it pushes oxygen beyond the oxygen carrying capacity of the red blood cell. Red blood cells have 4 chains that they can hold on in O2, right? 2 arms, 2 legs. And as you need it, as I'm passing by, I'll let off an O2 molecule. O2. This is going to flood it beyond the red blood cells. It's going to be in your plasma so that it can uptake, so you heal quicker and you decrease the risk of infections.
Wow. And you also have overnights if they come out of town or they need extensive care. You also have a location.
It's not, we treat it like it was heart surgery. It doesn't really require us to do this.
Right.
But
it's an abundance of caution and care.
Yeah, totally. It's just going above and beyond. And it's cool because the clients that we see are those type of clients. They go above and beyond whatever field they're in their life.
Right.
So having the hyperbaric oxygen chamber, they can come fly in. We can ensure that they're going to have good oxygen supply to wherever we worked on before they jump on a flight back home. We also use it as a complication center. We take on other people's complications. If there's ever like a botched job that's done, we can use the ultrasound. We can see where the vessel is occluded. We can reverse it, and then we put them in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber so that we can hyper-oxygenate the area that was insulted.
Oh wow! Yeah, I didn't know that. You did also botched.
Yeah. And then also it provides a safety net for the delegates that take our courses.
Mm-hmm.
They automatically get grandfathered into that complication center. It's its own entity.
Oh wow!
It's separate from Get Refresh, so that when they go and they apply for a med spa, I'll be like, hey, I got trained by Get Refresh, and I also come with a complication center so that I can protect your brand. If there's ever an issue, we'll call them in the middle of the night. We'll open up our shop 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
Wow.
And we have.
Well, let's talk about what's new. You told me earlier that you have something new, so let's talk about that.
Okay, cool. Well, I believe that we do Botox fillers and threads really well, but I think it's still incomplete. Get Refresh is a lifestyle brand. All right? It's not about vanity. It's about living a positive, influential life and looking good while doing it. And you got to feel good inside. So we incorporated that into our brand, and now we have a day spa where people can come in and they can relax. Because you know how Miami is. This party, 24/7. But now we're getting a demographic of people who are very conscious about their health and what they put into their body. And their thought of going out and drinking, they may not want to do that anymore. So they may want to go on a date where they go to a day spa and you can go and chill with your girl in the sauna, or you can go by yourself, meditate. There's cold plunges. There's a red light room. There's the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. There's a rooftop terrace where we play live music. There's a harpist up there. Sometimes people playing the drums. You can have your champagne, and then you can go get injectables if you so choose to. So I think that we want to build a place that is a healthy environment that doesn't just encompass getting your lips done.
All right. So you also have facials. What else? Mm-hmm. What other services did you add?
Oh, geez. We're adding on anything that involves beauty. We've added it on, and we got the best of the best in Miami under one roof and 13,000 square foot and a 13,000 square foot facility. So now we're doing hair, nails, lip blushing. I'm doing lip blushing, tattooing.
Oh, wow.
Ombre powder, tattooing of the brows. All these things that I feel are important to get the outcome. We don't sell syringes, we sell outcomes. So we needed to expand our ability to help people. And this has been the driving force behind getting, a multimodal approach and getting the best people that do it underneath Get Refresh.
Awesome. Well, we're almost done. So
That's it.
Believe it or not, but I just want you to shout out your social media where they can look and contact your staff so they can come see you. And I know you wanted to throw out there to our main camera. Yeah. I know we talked about maybe a little promo for our people that stayed for 30 minutes that you've been here. Can you believe it or not? Oh my God, that went by too quick. All right. You can find us on Instagram, Get Refresh 1. And we started this program off air. And I was telling Disco George how we're giving 50% off for anybody who has suffered from cancer
or has been in a domestic relationship, a domestic abusive relationship, we give them 50% off.
Wow, 50%.
Your wife actually works at Miami Children's with, oh, sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
With patients that deal with cancer, right?
Right.
We got to extend it out to healthcare professionals and teachers out there. They're nation builders. We're going to give them a friends and family discount of 30% when they walk in through the door, and we're going to treat them like royalty.
Awesome.
So come check us out.
50% if you have cancer or you have a domestic.
If you have had cancer.
But the people in the health industry, you get 30%, which is the friends and family discount.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I hope you had such a good time like I did.
Oh, it was too short. We got to do this again.
Well,
if you guys want to see some more, please.
Yes. If you loved Jacob, put more Jacob on the bottom of the post. Put more Jacob. Okay. Well, thank you guys. I hope you love the show. You have a great one. Okay. Thanks again.
Stay fresh.